Hello, everyone. Welcome to our training on patents, trademarks, and copyrights, how to research them and then how to file them. Um, Not easy, but not nearly as difficult as you might think. So let me go ahead and share my screen and minimize myself and go to our presentation here. And let me go ahead and walk through the presentation, and I'm going to also walk you through examples of how to actually do the searches and the filings.
Okay, so patents, trademarks, and copyrights. There's actually also a fourth category of intellectual property called trade secrets. Uh, it's not unimportant, but I'm not going to cover it in this particular presentation. The three main types of intellectual property that we need to talk about are patents, trademarks, and copyrights. So, for those of you unfamiliar with these terms, a patent is actually a registration of intellectual property for a thing or a process. So these are inventions, devices, new ways of doing tasks. Um, it's a physical thing or a process. A trademark is for a brand image, for a name, for a logo. It's for images and names, basically. And then copyrights are for ideas that have no real tangible form. So written music, written books, written like academic publications, software is actually copyrighted. Um, so anything that is basically an idea, whether it's a musical idea, a written idea, a software idea, if it has no physical form and it's not really a brand name or an image, um, even if it is an image, if it's a work of art, for example, it's copyrighted. Images, as far as trademarks, are only in association with the use of that image for like the the branding of the company. So differences are really patents are things and processes, trademarks are brand names and logos, copyrights are all other kinds of ideas that you can't really put into physical form. Uh, the research is really the most important thing, or the time consuming thing, I would say. And it's hardest for patents. It's also somewhat intensive for trademarks. It's really easy for copyrights. So we're going to do patent and trademark first and then cover copyrights. So basically, the research involves going to a particular database, which I'll show you guys in a second, and looking for patents or trademarks that are similar to whatever it is that you want to register. And looking at certain key parts of those similar products or inventions or names or logos and making sure that you are sufficiently different from whatever has already been registered. Now, the research, especially for patents, can take 20, 40, even hundreds of hours, depending on how complex the patent is. And patent attorneys usually charge over $400 an hour. That adds up really fast. And I would not recommend that you do a patent filing completely without advice from an attorney. However, most of the research legwork you can do on your own, with a just an hour or two worth of blessing from the attorney. And the actual registration is only about $750 for a patent and only about $250 for a trademark. So they're actually not as expensive as you would think. As you would think, the expense comes in when high priced attorneys actually are doing all of the background research and legwork. So moving on to how to do that background research and legwork much more economically. For patents and trademarks, you go to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, USPTO website. And we'll go back to that for an example at the end of the presentation here. For patents, you're going to go to the Patent Public Search database. And for trademarks, you're going to go to the Trademark Electronic Search System, otherwise known as TESS. And you always start by searching on the title or the abstract of any particular type of patent or trademark to find ones that are similar. Once you've found the similar ones, the key information that you need to look at for patents is the name, like patent number and abstract, just so that you can refer back to them. And then when you're comparing your own invention to the particular patent that's similar, you need to, this is where the really time consuming stuff comes in. You need to read the background, description, summary, and claims sections of the patent and compare every single thing that's described there to your patent that you want to file. And you need to make notes to yourself on how your thing is different than whatever the current thing that's already registered is in every one of the things mentioned in these 4 sections. So sometimes the patents can be 40, 50 plus pages long. So there's a lot of reading to do there, and that's what ends up costing so much money with the attorneys. If you do that reading up front and then present your work to the attorneys, it's a lot more economical. So that's what you need to do for patent searches. For trademark searches, the key information that you're looking at is the name, or what's called the word mark, the serial number of the trademark, a brief description of it, and especially what the goods and services codes are that are connected with it. When you do a search for a particular trademark name, it's going to say whether the mark is either live or dead. And the ones that are dead means that they were previously registered in some way but are no longer updated. So you don't have to worry about whether you conflict with those. The ones that you really need to focus on are the ones that are live, that are the same name or a very similar image to what you're trying to register for your company name or logo. Once you've found ones that are similar, you need to look at the goods and services codes that are connected to those company names or logos that are the same as yours. And if you find one that has the same goods and services codes and the same name or the same logo, you basically need to change the name, logo, or font and or the goods or services of your trademark until it's sufficiently different from the other one that regular old customers out there would not confuse the two companies. So it's okay to have the same name as another company as long as you do something very different from them. Um, if you both, if there's 2 different companies that both do marketing consulting services and they're both called Consulting Plus, that won't work. Even if you have a different logo, the name has to be different too, because otherwise people will confuse the 2 companies. But if one company is called Consulting Plus and it does marketing consulting, one company is called Consulting Plus and it's actually a, let's say, a database that compares all of the different consultants in the world to each other and refers you to whichever one is most focused on the kind of services you want. That might be okay because they're very different types of products and services. So it depends on whether you're using the same name or logo or color scheme with the same type of product. That's a no-no. As long as you differentiate those, you're usually okay. Okay, copyright research. Much easier than patent and trademark research. You basically just need to check and see if there's anything with the same name and the same type of work as what you're copywriting. And even if that's the case, you can still do it as long as what you're registering is completely different and just happens to have the same name. So among all the other things I do as an entrepreneurship professor, on the side, I love to write and play music. So There's a song I wrote a while ago called Groove Juice. Um, it's a nice funk song that I wrote about 20 years ago, and I never copyrighted it. So to put my money where my mouth is with all these training exercises that I do for students, I'm in the process of copywriting it right now, and it's actually not that hard to do. But I got almost done and then went to do something else and haven't finished it yet. But interestingly, when I did the search, there's like four other songs called Groove Juice, um, but I've never heard of them before. They have nothing to do with my song. They have different like melody, they have different rhythm, they have different lyrics. So just because there's another song called Groove Juice, as long as I'm not ripping off somebody else that also like worked together recording um, the same song, I can still copyright it. It just as an accident that it has the same name as something else. As long as the content is different, it's okay. And the registration is pretty straightforward and easy, and it only costs about $60. So um, you don't really need to consult with attorneys for copyright registrations unless it's a particularly complex case. So the oh yeah, that's oh yeah. So the key information for the copyright is the title, the registration number, the type of work, the description, and the contents. Um, and then the one important thing with copyrights is after you fill out the paperwork, you got to make sure to send in like if my song, for example, I need to actually send in a recording of the song. If you wrote software code, you actually have to file a copy of that the code with the Copyright Office. And once the content, together with the registration paperwork, is done, you're good. You pretty much have a copyright. So now that I've gone through all that, let me escape out of here and first go to the USPTO's website. Um, when you first get here, it would behoove you to go ahead and set up your own USPTO account because everything you fill out when you fill out paperwork is going to be linked to that. So I already created my own account. Uh, there's going to be some other screens for you to set up an account, but what you've done once you've done that, you should always log in as yourself basically when you go to do something. So now, if I go to patents, patent center, we'll wait for it to so now it's like logging me in again. So I need to go ahead and have the two-step authentication sent to me. Okay, actually, I got it on my phone now. So 432448. Remember me, so I at least don't have to do this for another 24 hours and verify. Okay, so now um, if you want to search the database, just click here and start just by typing in. Let's say we're going to look at, like, since this whole ag waste grant is focused on hydrogasification processes, let's look for hydrogasification. Oh, that's the application number. We're actually looking for all fields. Huh. We'll go back to the home of the patent center, and then they just set up the new like patent search database. It used to be a different database. So let's see if we can get this to work. So if we go back to the main homepage and then go to patents and search for patents. Now you can go to the patent public search database, click on search. Unfortunately, the USPTO's like UX has a lot to be desired. The user interface is not nice. But once you get to here, just open this window and then type in whatever search terms you're looking for. And search. And you'll notice here there's different documents. So I believe, there we go, search results. There are 900 search results here. So that's actually a little bit too much to read through. So if we go back here and we do hydrogasification and then um, and um, and put agricultural waste in quotes. Go to search results, 300. It's a little bit better. It's actually still a little bit too much. So if we go over here to the actual documents, this is document 1 out of 300. Um, and you can see here, that's the patent number. These are the names of the inventors. This is the name of the organization that um, filed it. This is actually the name of the patent. And then if we scroll down some more, these are actually prior patents that it's related to in some way. Then you get the abstract, the background, the summary, the description. Now you see why I said it's so time consuming. You don't want a $400 an hour attorney doing this. It's a lot of work, but you can go through it yourself. So there's the whole description section. Taking a while to get down to the bottom. There should be a claims section in here somewhere too. There we go. Claims. So a method comprising performing pyrolysis of a biomass or biosolids in the presence of a catalyst, comprising biochar obtained from pyrolysis of wastewater biosolids. Okay, so um, this one, for example, is particularly related to a biochar catalyst. So um, if we have a hydrogasification process that is fundamentally different um, in its biochar catalyst, that would be a way of registering how we're different. But basically, you need to go through searches like this. If we notice here, like this one has to do with catalysts, and we actually have a different type of hydrogasification that's not really particularly focused on the catalyst. You can further narrow it down by saying not catalyst and then search. Now we're only down to 5. Okay, carbon neutral natural gas. So by playing around with or tweaking the search terms, you can get down to a reasonable number of similar patents. I think 5 to 10 is usually the goal you should shoot for. But you may have gone too narrow and you need to fix the terms so it's actually similar to your patent. Part of the time consumption is actually playing around with the search terms to make sure you get the right search. Then you read through the document, notice all the different areas that I mentioned in the slideshow, and then make notes about how what you're registering is different from each of those areas. Okay, once you've done all that, in order to file the patent, you then go to register you file your own login, excuse me, to the trademark office, and then let's see if it actually lets me do this or it makes me log in again. It's trying to find me. There we go. Finally found me. So if I now go to new submission, um, there's different types of patents: provisional and non-provisional, design and utility. Um, Basically, one the provisional patents are faster and easier because it's just basically staking a claim to something, and then within the next year you have to fill out the rest of the information. um, Utility patents are basically about the way something works. Design patents are literally the design of a particular invention. um, if you click on utility provisional, for example, and then I don't know why it keeps asking me to log in, even though I'm already logged in. So let me just continue without that so you can see the fields that you need to fill out. Um, you can either download a whole PDF and fill it out, or you can actually just fill out the fields on the web. And you'll see here names of inventors, like details of the application, representatives that represent you, um, so on and so forth. So benefits, if there's any kind of foreign priorities. Um, Most of your details in the description and everything are going to come in this section here. So that's basically where you go to. I'm not going to go through every page, it's relatively time consuming, but any of you who actually move forward with the paperwork, I'm happy to give one-on-one help to as you're filling out the paperwork. But that's where you go to file the patent, follow the instructions, and that's basically what you need to do for patent searches and filings. Now, if we go to the trademark side instead and go to um, we'll just start with the basic word mark search. So my company that I have, that I registered for myself, for example, is called Innovation Enterprises. So instead of innovation, Innovation with an E. So if I type in innovation and hit submit, okay, here's like 10 different, well, yeah, 10 different companies that have the word innovation in them somewhere, but they're all dead. So that's actually not such a bad thing. I could register it without much trouble. But just to show you the rest of things you're looking at, the actual picture of what the logo looks like or the name looks like is always here in the application. The goods or services that it's related to: books in the field of business management related to entrepreneurial activity. So they're basically a publisher. I'm more of a service provider. So they're both sort of entrepreneurship consulting, though. So if that were not a dead mark, I probably need to do a little bit more fine tuning to make sure that I'm not confused with them. If we look at this one, that's actually the same company, but a different. They also have computer software for analyzing various multimedia data. So looks like that's actually the same. No, that's Colorado. That looks almost like the same font, but I'm not sure if it's the same company or two different ones. They probably this is 2002. The other one I think was 2007. So um, they could actually be two different companies who filed after each other. Like now that if I file, it'll be in here as live, and if I in the future decided not to renew it, mine would be in there eventually as dead as well. So most of the time, you'll notice that the filing dates don't overlap with each other if you have multiple dead ones with the same name. Once you've found one that is unique in its goods or services and unique in the name and or logo, then you're going to go to let's go back to the overall trademarks page and then go to apply for a trademark, and then you go to start your application in T's. Luckily this time it recognized my account, so it's going to make me do the double verification. That's so annoying. I don't know if I remember my ID.me information. Um, Honestly, the paperwork is not that hard to fill out. One of the most annoying things about this whole system is just having the multi-factor, doing the multi-factor uh, registration and not getting frustrated. Let me see if I can do it with my Gmail. Oh, okay, I have to click continue. There we go. Okay, 692067. That's This is the same place I got to last time. I actually didn't want to take all the time to do the place. It used to be that you didn't have to do this double registration. So let me see if I can actually just get to a sample of the form without having to do all that um, multiple registration stuff. So let's see here. File trademark forms. Um, I was hoping there was a PDF to show you guys here. Um, I already have an account. Will it let me log into it? There. File an application. Ah, I'm sorry, folks. Like, I'm gonna have to do the ID.me thing. It used to be you can go straight through. I'll just explain to you without doing the actual like pages here online. Once you have double verified that you are who you are, um, there's about 4 or 5 screens. It's not a whole lot of work. The most important thing is, first of all, to choose the right goods and services that are connected to your trademark. If you have a particular logo or color scheme, you need to upload a sample of that. And then the other thing that's important is whether you've already been using it in business or have if you haven't been using it yet. If you've already been using it, you submit a sample of how it's been in use. If you have not already been using it, you have to sort of submit how you will be using it. But those are really the only places you could get confused. There's about 5 screens. When you get to the bottom of it, you pay your 270-ish dollars, and then you hurry up and wait for about 6 to 9 months at this point before you hear back from the trademark office. But eventually you hear back. And that's how that one works. Now, before we call it a day, copyrights are actually at a different website. So for that, you go to copyright.gov. And if you want to search, you can search copyright records, and this is the self-serve thing here. So um, we're just going to go with 1978 to present. That covers most stuff. And then, like I said, I have this song called Groove Juice. There we go. Groove Juice 2000. I think that might be my registration. I haven't finished yet. Nope. That's interesting. It's a CD from the same year that I wrote mine, but somebody completely different. And I don't know that person, so they're not like another collaborator with me. Um, so you can see all the ones here. Just make sure that you don't recognize any of the people that are doing this or that were involved in it. Unfortunately, it's not very. You can't just like request easily a recording of the song, so you can listen to it and see whether it's the same as yours in some way, like somebody that you didn't know stole your idea. There's no easy way to do that, but um, you should basically make a note to yourself about that. There's a more complex way to follow up on it later, but you do this search, just make a note to yourself of what you found, and then go back to the main copyright page. And then in order to register, you're just going to go to registration, register your work. You got to log in. And I'm not even going to do this one because the pages are pretty straightforward. It's really just like filling out a, like, I don't know, like the first time you registered as a student, putting in your name and your social security number and stuff like that. It's relatively straightforward filing. So I'm not even going to spend the time to go through the pages right now, but it costs $60. It's pretty easy and straightforward, and that's really what you need to know about copyrights. So that's it for this presentation. If any of you have detailed questions, feel free to follow up with me or any of the other grant staff, and otherwise, I will talk to you all soon.